of Chattanooga. Let's rise and shine, meet our neighbors, greet our new friends and our new faces, and just have a wonderful time together today.
Be careful of the cameras.
Hey, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing faith today. I'm walking in faith today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing faith today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven. I'm singing, I'm choosing heaven today. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see love in every face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Thank you, Landis. I haven't heard that song in so long. How beautiful. Don't you just love the way he just opens up our hearts when we start the song?
Yeah.
Nice job.
It feels good to be opened up.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Well, good morning to all of you in person here today. And I also want to welcome all of you who are watching us online through our virtual doors this morning. My name is Penny Worth, and if you're watching us on Facebook, please say hello in the comment section and be sure to give us a thumbs up. And we also love it when you communicate with each other and share your comments. And don't forget, and this goes to you as well, that you can share this service with family and friends. And you know, they're just, all of us have people in our lives who are searching for answers with the different challenges that we're faced with today. And Unity has always had a wonderful message of hope and personal encouragement. As we enter into this season of Thanksgiving and being grateful, I've been thinking a lot lately about what I'm grateful for at Unity of Chattanooga. You know, it's always been a huge touchstone for Doug and myself. But after it's all said and done, it simply comes down to this. It's one of my happy places. Right now, we're in the process of having our website upgraded. And because of that, I have a tendency to go exploring on other Unity websites just to see what others are doing. And it's not unusual that I end up finding other things that I'm not necessarily looking for, but they catch my interest. And recently, I came across a YouTube service that actually comes from several years ago back at Unity of Dallas. A church member got up. He did not state his name, but he stepped up to say why he loved coming to Unity, and I would like to share his writing with you today. He called it God's Master Plan. This is a story of gratitude that I wish to share. When I found my spiritual home filled with people who both love me and care. Wandering through my adult life, finding God where I could, I had given up a long time ago, being tortured by a whole world of shoulds. However, in the fall of 2008, after my beloved sister parted this life, a good friend gave me an invitation that she felt might relieve my pain and strife. She said, "Why not come to our church and find some peace of mind?" Well, that was something that I thought was impossible at this particular time. Desperate for some solace, I walked through Unity's front doors, and the gift I found within was impossible to ignore. At last, I found a spiritual haven that suited me in every single way, one that would make the life moment easier in oh so many different ways. But that was not the end of my story, for a troubling time was yet to come. The time when my partner and myself thought our time together was over and done. The message from the pulpit no longer resonated with who we were. So we left to go out and look for another oasis where something similar might occur. However, after a year of indecision, what became apparent in my mind was that I missed my Unity community that had always been loving, open, and kind. After much thought and prayer, the decision was apparent and clear. We could not wait to be back with those folks who we held so precious and dear. Church is so much more than just the minister, even though his importance is certainly a key. But the folks who make up this community mean the world to me. This place where I can learn to make a difference with my talents and who I am, it seems to just suit my soul's purpose and what I am sure fits into God's master plan. So now I invite Rev Doug to come up and light the Christ candle, and once again recognize that there is a divine presence continually flowing through each and every one of us, revitalizing, restoring, and renewing our souls, which I am also sure is part of God's perfect plan.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, thank you, Penny. There is a light in the room. It's God's light. It's the inspiration. It's the love. It's the guidance that is with us always. So as we light the Christ candle and invite in that presence inside, we give thanks for all the blessings in our life, for each one of us, for our families, for those who love us, and for even those who give us another way of looking at life from time to time. So I invite you now into that quiet and still place, that place where God is and always has been. And so take a moment now and Just feel that presence. Open your hearts. Open your minds. Let the to-do list go. And just be here. Be still. And feel that love and that guidance flowing through you. Through every part of your being, through every thought, through every feeling, a feeling of love, of guidance, of understanding, of support, of acceptance. And as you embrace those feelings, notice that your body feels relaxed, that your body feels whole, that it feels healed on every level. And there is simply a warm, excited feeling flowing through every cell. And so this morning, we simply give thanks, knowing that God is here and we are loved. And so it is. Amen.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what they're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
This is a time when we get together in a time for prayers. But before we do that, Veterans Day was just a few days ago. And so this morning I want to honor and appreciate anyone who has served in the military. If you have served in the military, or if you have a brother or sister or father or son or daughter in the military, simply raise your hand. We want to thank you for your service and for your support, for helping this country be strong and for helping everyone in the world find a better life, because oftentimes that's what the military does so much these days. Thank you so much. If anyone has a prayer request this morning, now is the time. Simply raise your hand and I will be there along with Terry, our chaplain. All right. Steve.
Yeah, I want to continue to lift our good friend Bob McPeak in prayer. He's still in the hospital. It's been over a week now, and the big deal with him is he's not able to walk. It's all happened in about 2 months period of time, from getting weak and having a hard time walking to actually not being able to stand or walk right now. So it looks like it may be an autoimmune disorder and nerve related, but I want to lift him up and his family. He's married with a couple of college-age children, and we just want to send positive healing, thoughts for our good friend Bob McPeak.
Okay. And so, Steve, we join our hands right now and we join our minds and we invite in God's presence this very moment, knowing that that presence and that power not only resonates through our minds, but resonates through Bob's. And we see that presence surrounding him, flowing through him, healing what needs to be healed, letting go of any thoughts of regret or resentment. We just release those and let them go. And we invite in a presence of love, a thought of gratitude, a thought of appreciation. And we know that those thoughts flow down through his feelings and resonate in his body. And so this very moment, God's presence is with him, guiding him, healing him on every level, and allowing him to go forth with joy, with enthusiasm, doing everything that is his to do. And so for Bob, we love you. And we know that God is healing you this very moment. So it is. Amen. Okay. Does anyone else have a prayer request? Well, simply know, as we prayed for Bob, that God is here right now. Just a thought, just a feeling, just simply a request, a way of flowing down through your body, through every thought, through every feeling. God is here, and so it is. Amen.
Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness. Oh, know that God is always there. For every thought becomes a prayer. Faith, trust, love can move mountains. There ain't a dream that don't have a chance to come true now. It just takes a little faith, oh yeah. Anything that we want to do now, we can do now. It just takes a little faith, oh yeah. Nothing that love couldn't rise above. We can get through the night. We can get to the light. As long as we've got love to light the way. Hey, with a little faith, just a little trust. If you believe in love, love can move mountains. Believe it in your heart and feel it in your soul. And love can move mountains. Oceans deep and mountains high, they can't stop us because love is on our side. Oh yeah, we can reach the heavens and touch the sky. Just believe it, believe in you and life. Oh yeah, cause we've got love that is strong enough. We can do anything, we can do anything. Cause through it all, love will always find a way. Hey, hey, just a little faith, just a little trust. If you believe that love can move mountains, believe it in your heart and feel it in your soul. And love can move. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe it. Love can move. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe it. Love can move. What we believe we'll see, and I believe it's true. We believe in one power, nothing we can't do. Cause we've got love that is strong enough to find a way with a little faith, just a little trust. If you believe love can move mountains. Believe it in your heart and feel it in your soul. And love can move. Just a little faith, just a little trust. If you believe that love can move. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe it. Love can move mountains. Just believe it. Love can move with a little faith and a little trust and love can move mountains.
Wow.
Glad to sing is Celine Dion.
I was wondering, I've heard that song. I was just going through my...
It's a little different, but I like it.
Yeah, wow. Oh, man. It's amazing what you come up with when I give you a week's notice what we're going to talk about. And that's what we're talking about this morning. Love can move mountains.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, God, I love this. Yeah. Well, in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus tells his disciples, have faith in God. Truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and if you do not doubt in your heart, but believe what you say will come to pass, it will be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. And in a similar passage in Matthew, another verse is added to that same advice. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Yeah. Over and over throughout Jesus' ministry and the teachings in the Gospels, he refers to this quality of faith as being the cornerstone of spiritual understanding and the key to demonstrating and manifesting in the physical material world. For example, when people would ask for physical healings, he would look at them and he would simply ask, do you believe? In other words, where's your faith? Is what he's asking. And when the person would ask affirmatively, the healing would occur, and he would look at them and he would say, your faith has made you well. Or, according to your faith, be it done to you. Now, you might think that he was being coy and really was the one who was, doing the healing. But when the woman who had been hemorrhaging for many years touched the hem of his garment, believing that she would be healed and was healed immediately, Jesus was not involved or aware of who it was or why, but he felt a power go through him like a conduit. And when he discovered who it was, he simply said, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. When his disciples could not heal a young epileptic boy, who Jesus eventually did heal, they asked him privately why they couldn't do the healing. And Jesus looked at him and he replied, because of your little faith. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. And so it goes. In story, parable, and teaching after teaching, it's a person's faith, or lack thereof, that determines the outcome of their situation. So, is this quality of faith that he refers to something that only he understood and had a handle on? Well, not at all. If we look through the Bible repeatedly, just some of the incidents, by faith, Enoch was transformed and did not see death. By faith, Noah prepared an ark and eventually repopulated the earth. By faith, Abraham obeyed his guidance, and he set out not knowing where he was going and became the patriarch of three major religions that last today. By faith, Abraham and Sarah received the power of procreation in their old age, and their son Isaac was born. By faith, Moses left Egypt unafraid of the king's anger or retribution. By faith, the people passed through the Red Seas as if it was dry land. But when the Egyptians attempted to do so, they were consumed. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down. And from the 11th chapter of Hebrews, the writer concludes, "What more should I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, of David and Samuel, Solomon and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, obtained promises, shut the mouth of lions, quenched raging fire, escaped the edge of the sword, won strength out of weakness, became mighty in war, and put foreign armies to flight." So what is faith? Well, again, the writer of the book of Hebrews, who many believe was the Apostle Paul, describes it this way. "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." By faith, we understand that the worlds were prepared by the word of God. In other words, the potential is there. So what is seen was made from things that are not visible. When we hope for something, there's a vision of a greater outcome, but there's no power behind it. It's a dream, it's a fantasy. Now, many of us might hope to win the lottery and have more money and a more comfortable life. We may even buy a ticket, but there's little belief that it will happen, and it usually doesn't. But the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen, on the other hand, implies a knowing, a rock-solid, battle-tested confidence that we can, in fact, create the desired outcome when it does not exist in the present time. In every field of our culture, business, medicine, the military, even psychology, there is extensive training on how to create a desired outcome from less than ideal circumstances. Training that includes study and practice, so you know how to do it and why it works. So you are assured that if you apply the principles correctly, you'll get the desired outcome. So you have a conviction that it will work. So how do we use faith in our lives so that we can create a better life for ourselves? Well, we apply spiritual strength to the vision of our heart. And just like the training of our jobs in the material world, we do our spiritual work. We study the spiritual principles and laws that govern this dimension. We practice them to the best of our ability. We become familiar with the results and develop the assurance and the conviction of how they work in our life and how to use them to create a better life for ourselves. Emily Cady, in her book Lessons in Truth, points this out this way. She says, "The mental and spiritual world or realms are governed by laws that are just as real and unfailing as the laws that govern the natural physical world. Certain conditions of mind are so connected with certain results that the two are inseparable. If we have the one, we must have the other, as surely as the night follows the day. Not because we believe some wise person testimony that such is the case. Not even because the voice of intuition tells us that it is so, but because the whole matter is based on laws that can neither fail nor be broken. When we know something of these laws, we can know positively beforehand just what results will follow certain mental states. So spiritual strength implies a conviction of faith and an action taken. A conviction. It can often just be spoken through in the voice, and you can feel it. In the story of the centurion's servant found in the 8th chapter of Matthew and the 7th chapter of Luke, for example, a Roman soldier asks Jesus to heal his servant, but protests when Jesus says that he will come to his house. I am a man with authority myself, and all I have to do is speak the word and the order is carried out. And looking at Jesus, only speak the word and my servant will be healed. Jesus says that he has never seen such faith in all of Israel, and the man's servant was healed that very hour. We can all recognize the difference between faith without strength and faith with it. One is well-intentioned but ineffective, a mere hope. The other is filled with understanding, confidence, purpose, and intention. And you will know a person like that. If you know a person like that, you know that they're going to be successful in whatever they choose to do. You know, when I was just a little guy, I wanted a model airplane that actually flew. And I could see it, I could feel it. I told Santa I wanted it, and I got it for Christmas. It was a little Piper Cub. It was yellow. It was about this big, with wings about like that. And it had an engine so it could fly. And it had lines and levers so that it could be flown in about a 30-foot circle. Now, this was way before remote control, okay? Anyway, as simple as it was to fill up the gas and hit the propeller a few times, I couldn't get it to start. So what did I do? I asked my dad, who was right there, you know, with me. Now, my dad was a good provider for our family, but he was not very mechanically astute or inclined. And neither he nor I were very confident that he could help. And we couldn't get it started. He tried it, I tried it. You know, there was a little clip on the front end that you could put on a spring, nothing. But I saw a guy in the same field a little ways away with a plane that pretty much like mine that was flying. And I went over and I asked him if he would help. And he looked at me, I can remember it as clear as it was yesterday. He looked at me and he said, "Sure, kid, we'll get that plane up in the air." And then he looked as it says, brand new, it's right out of the box. I know it's going to fly. And he came over. And he knew, and I knew, and my dad knew that he would get that plane to fly. He did the same things we did. And on the second or third hit of that prop, plane fired right up, we were off, and I was flying it for the rest of the afternoon. It was great. Confidence, assurance, conviction, and we were off and flying. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, wrote a book entitled The 12 Powers of Man, in which he describes the inherent God-given creative powers that we all possess. Those powers that will help us grow spiritually and create a better life for ourselves. And from his understanding of the Gospels, he aligns each power with a disciple, using their characteristics to illustrate the nature of that power. Now, Fillmore noted that when Jesus began his ministry, he called to himself 12 disciples. The first two were Simon, later known as Peter, and Andrew, his brother. They represent faith and strength. which are the first two spiritual powers that must be active within us if we're going to make any progress at all. They complement one another, and together they can overcome every adverse circumstance, but separately are ineffective and powerless. Now, the name Simon in Greek means hearing and understanding. This represents the spiritual receptivity of the mind. Peter, on the other hand, means rock, literally, which denotes a firm faith. So in the gospel story, Jesus asks the disciples who they think he is. And it is Simon who says, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus recognizes this spiritual intuition and says, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." That rock is spiritual intuition and the faith that comes from it. Now, when a name changes in the Bible, it represents both a spiritual awakening and a new and a higher relationship to God. Abram becomes Abraham. Jacob becomes Israel. And Simon became Peter. When Simon becomes Peter in our own lives, it represents our perception of a spiritual truth, which then becomes a knowing, rock-solid faith. But Peter was anything but rock solid. During Jesus' ministry, he often intuitively grasped a higher idea, but he was unable to carry it out. When the disciples saw Jesus coming towards their boat, walking on water, it was Peter who attempted with great faith to follow suit. But seeing the wind and the waves, became afraid and began to sink. Well, Jesus reaches down and saves him, but remarks, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Jesus calls Peter to be with him in the Garden of Gethsemane, but Peter falls asleep. It's Peter who draws his sword and cuts off the ear of the guard, only to be rebuffed by Jesus. It's Peter who affirms that he will never leave or betray Jesus, but denies him 3 times during his trial. And it is Peter who was one of the first disciples at the tomb, but goes away puzzled and does not understand. Clearly, there is something in Peter that grasps the greater spiritual vision of possibilities, but there is also something missing in him if he is to represent the rock-solid faith principle in action. But his brother, Andrew, in Greek means strong, as in a strong man. Now, metaphysically, it refers to the strength of the mind, the power of knowing, and the spiritual strength that comes from finding the inexhaustible source of all true strength. It's Andrew in the book of John who exclaims, "We have found the Messiah." Peter and Andrew are brothers. They're linked by birth. And they both knew and worked well with each other. And so it is with faith and spiritual strength. In the Gospel of James, we read, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith but do not have works? Faith without works is dead. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I by my works will show you my faith." Great works imply great faith and the strength of understanding and practice to manifest a greater dream or a greater vision in your heart. So, how do we make faith work in our lives? Where do we get the faith that moves mountains? Well, first, we have to have a vision of something greater that we want to be, to have, or achieve. Something we can believe, see, and feel in ourselves. Maybe even something a little greater than a model airplane with an engine. Emily Cady notes that when Jesus said, "Ask and you will receive," he was simply stating an unalterable truth, that the supply of every want already exists, just awaits demand to pull it forward. He knew that the instant we ask or desire, we touch a secret spring, which starts on its way towards us, bringing the good we want. She maintains, desire in the heart is always God tapping at the door of your consciousness with his infinite supply, a supply that is forever useless unless there is a demand for it. It already exists, you just have to pull it to you. Desire in the heart for anything is God's sure promise sent beforehand to indicate that it is yours already in the limitless supply of heaven. And whatever you want, you can have. Second, understand that your conscious mind, the everyday thoughts and feelings that you have, especially your I am statements and affirmations, are what program your subconscious mind. Now, a little detail here. Your conscious mind, the thoughts that we have, can focus for about 20 seconds at around 2,000 bits per second. But it is your subconscious mind operating at 4 billion bits per second, 24/7, 365, that brings you through the laws of attraction, mind action, and attention, the circumstances, situations, and opportunities that match those beliefs and statements. The subconscious is infinitely more powerful than your conscious mind and does not filter what you say. It just goes to work to bring it into manifestation. Carl Jung and Charles Fillmore and many psychologists absolutely confirm this. And it's your subconscious mind that has been programmed from your birth with all kinds of stuff that just keeps working. Think and Grow Rich is a book by Napoleon Hill. It was a landmark book, first published in 1937, and is one of the greatest books ever written on how to bring your dreams into reality. In his chapter on faith, he says this: a mind dominated by positive emotions becomes a favorable abode for the state of mind known as faith. A mind so dominated may, at will, give the subconscious mind instructions, which it will accept and act on immediately. Making repeated affirmations to your subconscious mind is the only known method of developing the emotion of faith voluntarily. That's why in Unity we teach and use affirmative prayer. That's why we teach meditation and positive affirmations for what we desire. And of course, we recommend you study and learn the spiritual laws of this dimension. We have classes for this very purpose to help you along. And this is where your faith begins. First, have a greater vision, then develop the faith to bring it forward and have the strength to carry it out. And this is where our faith starts. Then, to develop that strength, we need to create an action plan and get competent training. Ask somebody for help, hopefully who knows what they're doing. Right? Surround yourself with people who know that what they're doing and are successful at what you would like to accomplish in your life. If you want to know more about spiritual principles, attend those classes. Develop a regular personal spiritual practice. Practice the spiritual laws you've learned to the best of your ability. Reflect on the circumstances that occur in your life and see if you can connect the dots of your inner thoughts and beliefs to material manifestations in your life. And celebrate your successes, be they ever so humble. This is how we build that spiritual strength. And lastly, never give up. The great ones always stay after practice and always go the extra mile. If you're as old as I am, you might remember a child's story, a children's story, the little engine that could. Yeah, okay. Well, he was a little train engine, built for switching cars around the depot yard, while the big, powerful engines were being refueled in services for big, long loads. Well, one day, a powerful freight engine pulled in for unexpected repairs, and his load would be late unless another engine could couple up and pull it over the mountain to the next town. It was a big job. It was a big mountain, and none of the other bigger engines would risk their reputation to try. I'm a sleek passenger engine, and I have senators on board. I don't pull freight. Sorry, kid. I've got a lot of freight to pull in a couple of days, and I need my rest. I'd like to help you, son, but, my old boiler just ain't what it used to be. And so it went around the yard. But the little yard engine agreed to give it a try. I think I can, he said to himself, as he coupled up to that big freight load. I think I can, he said to himself as he started to gain speed pulling out of the yard, knowing that his top speed and horsepower were nowhere near those of the big engines. But he was geared low for the heavy pull. He was strong. He was well maintained. In other words, he'd done his work, and he was sturdy. And as he came to that big mountain, he said to himself, I think I can, 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 I think I knew I could. I knew I could, I knew I could, I don't. Yeah. Faith coupled with strength. The faith that overcomes mountains. The assurance of things hoped for. The conviction of things not seen. When we begin our spiritual journey in earnest, when we want to change our lives for the better, we start with a greater vision and a faith coupled with spiritual strength that we can succeed. We start where we are, and even if we don't succeed right away, we build from our mistakes and develop the strength necessary for the long haul. And in the end, we've got everything that it takes to climb the mountain. So let's take a few moments now and just let all of that settle. As we take a deep breath and release, we simply know and we can feel right now that there is a greater vision in our heart. A vision that has been there for some time. A vision, something great that we can be or do or achieve or simply help others. So I want you to grasp that idea. See that as a picture. See yourself doing that very thing. And through faith, the size of a mustard seed, the smallest of seeds, simply know that God is with you and surrounding you and helping you and whispering in your ear, you can do this. And recall a time when a door opened just for you to allow you to take that first step. And as you did, there were people who surrounded you and helped you. There were opportunities to make you strong. There were things that you learned. And as you grew stronger, your faith grew, and that vision expanded. And then one day, somebody came up to you and said, "It's a miracle. How did you do that? How did you know how to do that? You must be blessed." Yes, you were blessed. But you didn't let that vision die. You felt the faith that it could be accomplished, and you did your work. You walked through those open doors. And today you walk in that particular area with the saints. The kingdom of heaven, he said, is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It's the smallest of seeds, but when it has grown, it is the greatest of shrubs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nests in its branches. When you take that bit of faith and do your work and become strong, that faith and that vision simply grow, and other thoughts, other birds of the air come and join in your mind, and you become the greatest inspiration for many. And so for this very moment, I invite you with gratitude and appreciation to say, "Thank you, God, for giving me those ideas, those visions of something greater, for allowing me to see how the principles work, for opening those doors so I could build my strength." Thank you, God. So it is. Amen. Beautifully done, Landis. Thank you. Most of you know that our services are streamed live, and we often, don't know who is watching. We may see some stuff afterwards, but in this particular case this morning, 2 people asked for prayers, and I would like to read those and pray with them. The first is from Amanda Dawn. And she says, "Our little family has been dealing with sickness for a couple of weeks now. Prayers for health for us is appreciated. We miss being there in person and hope to be back soon." So Amanda, this very moment, with all the people in our congregation that are here this morning, and for those of you watching through the internet, we join our hearts and we join our minds and simply affirm for you and your family health and wholeness on every level of your being. We know that God's healing presence is flowing through you right now. bringing you the resources to feel strong, bringing you the guidance to know what is yours to do, whether it's rest, whether it's seeing a physician, whatever it is. God is giving you those ideas right now. And God's presence is flowing through you, bringing energy, health, and wholeness. So we give thanks, knowing simply that all is well, and so it is. And from Carlos, 2 of my dogs are going through a struggle for dominance, and we have to keep them separated to keep them from injuring one another. We adore both of them. We have had trainers in. I have to hit the button to see more. The younger, larger one is on meds, but it does not stop him from engaging in the fight. Vets have been consulted. Please pray these sweet souls and for Deb and I to have the ability to do what we need to do to restore peace in our home. So Carlos, this very moment we sometimes bring in the presence and power of angels or guides. This morning we bring in the power of Caesar. Caesar, the dog watcher. Dog whisperer. And for your 2 dogs, we simply know that they are part of your family. That you give them love, you give them nourishment, you give them exercise, you give them everything that they need to be strong and healthy in their dimension and as part of your family. And so right now, we surround each one of them with our love. And that love simply fades away any thoughts of dominance, any thoughts of control. And we see and simply know that there is a feeling within them of peace, of being part of a family, of being with each other. And just like Peter and Andrew, we see them brothers, working together, going forward, doing everything that is theirs to do, loving the family and loving each other. And so we give thanks, knowing that all is truly well. And so it is. Amen. We rarely have someone call in, but it's nice when they do. And if you ever watch our podcasts, you can also call in during that time. And we'll answer those questions and do the best we can. So now is the time in our service when we choose to give thanks, when we choose to just simply feel great about ourselves, about the message, about something that perhaps came to your mind or your thoughts or your feelings during this service. Something that maybe came to you this morning when somebody came up and shook your hand or gave you a hug. So I invite you now to take your tithes and your offerings in your hand and repeat after me. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, and I receive in abundance.
God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I am blessed. So it is. God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I'm blessed. So it is. God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I am blessed. So it is.
so we give thanks for these guides, tithes, these offerings, these blessings, so freely given from the heart, going forth with joy and enthusiasm. And that joy and enthusiasm brings greater rewards, flowing through each one of us as health, as love, as guidance, and flowing through those that we know to bring peace, to bring harmony, to bring acceptance on many different levels. So once again, with gratitude and appreciation, we say simply, thank you, God, and we know that it is so.
God is all that I am. I have all that I need. I am grateful. I'm so blessed. So it is. I am grateful. I am blessed. And so it is.
Now, you know, when I taught Sunday school, I used that story of the little train that could. Only mine had a little different ending. I know I can. I know I can. I know I can. I knew I could. I knew I could. I knew I could. I did it! So, here are our announcements for this week. Don't forget that at 10:30 right here, in-house on Sunday mornings, we have a great little time together that we call Dancing with Spirit. And it's just a lovely time to just open up your whole being and realize the reason why we're here, to let Spirit flow through. And also, I want to remind you to tune in on Wednesdays to our little midweek Faith Lift podcast with Shannon and Rev Doug at about 4 o'clock. And these guys always have something interesting to share. On Thursday evenings, we have a little group starting to get together at Whole Foods on a regular basis on Manufacturers Road in the upper mezzanine. And we call this our Spiritual Connection Group. And it's just a great way to get together and to know everybody on a personal basis. Also, I want you to mark your calendars for next week, which is November 20th, because following fellowship, we have rented the hall for an extra hour, and Mona, who is the head of our outreach program, is going to organize all of the clothes that have been in, and we're also going to make at least 50 bag lunches that she'll be able to hand out, and she'll head downtown afterwards, and she's looking for volunteers to help her with. There will be a very short meeting at this front table here after the service today so we can start to get things put into place. I also would like to announce that we have a new person on staff, and that is Cindy DeWild, and she's going to be our church photographer. So Cindy, just stand up and let us know. So if you see her sneaking around with her camera, it's okay. I want to remind you too that if you would like personal prayer, we do have chaplains in house today that are here to support you. And I also want to say that one of our prayer chaplains, who's Margaret Dexter, we think that her apartment is going to be ready soon. We're hoping next week, but we're not sure. We're not sure. But I put a sign-up sheet in the back, and even though we don't have a specific date, if you think that you might be available for me to call and say, hey, can you come on over? We need help moving some of the smaller items and boxes just so that we can cut down on the moving costs. So I said, put a sign-up sheet in the back. If that's something, you know, as I said, I don't have a date for you, but if you think that you might be willing to get a call, please put your name down. And so Rev Duck, he'll be back next week, and we hope you will be too. And in the meantime, we hope you will stay and join us for fellowship and goodies afterwards. But first, let's stand and sing the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. In oneness all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And just remember as you go forward this week, when you see that big mountain, what mountain? Have a great week.